Do you trust the news media?
Not all the time. Depends on which station, because some of them are more to the right, some of them more to the left. So really, not all the time.
Absolutely not. I think it's very biased. I don't trust the news media online, the news media on TV. I think you really have to do your own research.
No, because a lot of times they're just out there to try to get your interest, and a lot of times the stuff isn't true. So I just find it would be nice to trust them, but no, I don't.
Some news media, yes. I think others, it's there to generate attention and ratings and to watch their stations. So sometimes things are overblown, headlines are not always true, and if it's on social media, very, very dangerous.
It's some of the media is really biased, and they like to make the news look the way they want it to do. And there's a lot of if you go look now online and all that, there's a lot of fake news, and it's really bad. People have to be smart enough to know what's true, what's false. But unfortunately, not too many do.
That is a good question. I wouldn't say I trust it wholeheartedly. I think there are biases for sure, depending on where you get your news from.
I would say every media is biased at some point, so I take everything with a pinch of salt. So I'm someone who tries to go for other answers and not only one source. So if that could answer my question, yes, but not most of the time.
I think I take a lot of news that I read with a grain of salt, and I try and check my sources, so I have to my trust has to be earned in the media, I think.
Oh yeah, I trust them.
Why do you trust them?
I trust them because I think they're reliable. I think they're journalists who know their skill sets, and they know that they have to investigate things before they report them, where some of the stuff you get on social media is not tested.
The other thing is that the variety of news now available has gotten a lot smaller. I mean, you look at a newspaper today and it's about as thin as a napkin. There's not an awful lot of content left in it anymore.
Well, it depends on which ones. I think that it's important that you do your research when you're looking at news articles, because there definitely is a lot of muddling in that puddle.
For the most part, yes. A lot of the times there are people who fact-checked news medias as well, so then you get a lot of, you know that it's coming from reputable sources.
Depends on the outlet.
Why do you say that?
I believe there can be a bias on news that is provided through large media outlets.
To a certain degree, yes, to deliver some information, but I know that you can't trust everything you see.
I worked in the media for a long time, so yes and no.
Less now than I did 10 years ago.
Tell me why.
For the very reason I mentioned, where I don't think the source needs to be corroborated or verified in order for it to make a good headline and what sells media, you know.
You trust the media?
More established media, I do, but there is a lot of new media that's saying that they're media that aren't.
More than a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to trust professional journalists over some weirdo on YouTube most of the time. It's not perfect, but I think that at least there are standards, at least there's some way of redressing things that you don't really get on social media. Like, it's not perfect, but it's important not to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Trusting the news media is a hard one because I think that a lot of times they have an agenda of which they need to propagate their information. And so, do I trust the news media? No, because I know that everybody has a bias. No matter, even when you look at history, you always have a bias. And so I believe with news media, they also take their bias, and so they only give one side of the story, whereas every story has at least two, if not three sides.
So I used to, not so much anymore. So I actually make a point of watching all sorts of media and podcasts, so that I can actually
get a better understanding of what's really going on, because it's confusing.
I find that the news, to be honest with you, wants to shed a light on things that don't actually matter to me, and why I worry my life. I try and take a bit of a stoic view of it, and I worry about me, and I worry about getting myself better, but a lot of the things don't matter to me, so I don't worry about them.
Typically, I don't trust the conventional media. I think it's important for us to do our own research and homework on things. I think it's an interesting perspective, but as an information source, no, typically not.
To an extent, I believe that there are subjects that are taboo and that the news media, for various reasons, will not touch, whether that's to not lose funding from sponsors or for various reasons. I believe that we're not presented the full picture and that certain stories are, suppressed for various reasons. So to an extent, I'm careful.